Welcome to another unboxing from Gadget Magazine, and today we are delighted to show you the new Huawei Mate 50 Pro, the new flagship phone from Huawei in South Africa. And this is the phone that Huawei hopes will finally convince people that Huawei mobile services competes with any mobile ecosystem in the world. And we are first going to show you what comes out of the box. So let's remove it from its coverings. And from the front, it's a regular smartphone, but at the back, you have this incredible look. They call this vegan leather. It feels almost like leather. It feels like no other phone on the market, and it looks like no other smartphone on the market. Even the camera array looks different. The selection of 4 main lenses and several sensors, which we'll go into in a minute, is positioned in a way that creates this feeling of symmetry. The aesthetic values of this phone already set it apart. Also in the box, a charging brick. And this is a 66 watt charging brick. That means that it allows for super fast charging of the phone. It's very rare these days to get the charging brick in the phone. Most manufacturers speak the language of sustainability. They want to limit the amount of e-waste that goes with their devices. But of course, when you are introducing fast charging and a high wattage charger, you have to supply the brick because it's going to be so expensive for people to buy it separately, and of course with a compatible cable as well. So all in all, along with a protective back cover, what you get in the box is already compelling. Let's first talk about that charging brick. That is the 66 watt wired multi-channel Huawei Supercharge device. And that allows you to charge this particular phone from 0 to 100% in 41 minutes. If you don't have quite that amount of time, if you have only half an hour on your hands, you can still get it up to 80%. And if you need to give it a quick boost, if your phone has died and you need to rush out, then in 5 minutes, this charger will take it from 0 to 20%. But for me, what stands out with regard to charging is the fact that it supports 50 watt wireless charging. Wireless has traditionally been the slowest way to charge a phone, but now it's catching up to the wired version. The battery, by the way, is a 4700 milliamp hour battery, 4700 mAh, which is fairly standard in a high-end smartphone, but that is high capacity and it should last the day and into the next day. If it doesn't, then the brick will help you out. Let's talk about that camera array. If you only look at the numbers, it doesn't sound wildly impressive. The main lens is a 64 megapixel periscope telephoto lens, supported by a 50 megapixel wide angle lens and a 13 megapixel ultra wide lens. Comes with LED flash, and it supports 4K video shooting, and depending on the resolution of the video, up to 960 frames per second at 720p, which means you can shoot and then play back in ultra slow-mo and still get decent resolution out of the cameras. But I mentioned that it doesn't sound very impressive, but there is a deeply impressive technological advancement lurking in that camera array, and that is the automatically adjustable aperture. It can go from f1.4 to f4.0 automatically, depending on what you are trying to focus on in your image or in your video. So in particular, that bokeh effect everyone talks about, where you blur out the background, is dramatically enhanced by being able to adjust aperture automatically. We've seen adjustable aperture in phones before. Other manufacturers have tried it on several models and then dropped it because it wasn't effective enough. Huawei has now taken that technology further, not just adjustable aperture, but automatically adjustable. And that truly sets this phone apart. The various specs of the cameras and the functionality of the camera are also touted heavily by Huawei. But for those who are looking for something that truly stands out, that adjustable aperture is something they're not going to get on another comparable device. So let's quickly talk about some of the other features of the phone before we've set the phone up, just so that you understand what you're getting with it. On the front, you have a 13 megapixel f2.4 18 millimeter ultra wide lens. That means you can fit so much more into those selfies, i.e. a huge group, whatever you want to call it, a groupie, a groupie, whatever. But your selfie doesn't only have to include yourself. And the selfie camera also supports 4K video. So all in all, from a camera point of view and a video point of view, a delightful phone. If we want to talk about the display, it's a 6.74-inch display with a massive screen-to-body ratio of 91.3%. If you look closely, you'll see that the display curves around the phone in order to take maximum advantage of available space. And it offers high definition at 1212 by 2616 pixels, and that adds up to a 428 pixel per inch density. And the protection of that display also stands out. It uses something called Kunlun glass from Huawei, which is their own new standard, just as they've introduced their own standards into other aspects of the device. Once you start using the phone, you'll find that it's one of the most versatile phones yet from Huawei that uses Huawei mobile services and doesn't depend on the Play Store or any other app store. Uses the Huawei app gallery, but allows you to sideload the various apps that you're able to usually get in the App Store or the Play Store. And that means that, for example, Google Maps, which is most people's favorite mapping tool, is completely usable on this device. It comes with Petal Maps, which competes well with Google Maps. But whichever apps you want to include, generally speaking, you can use them in what feels like almost native use on the device. So all in all, let's just go back to that back cover, which truly delights. But all in all, you'll find that it's a delightful phone that will meet most needs of most smartphone users.